Welcome back. I'm your host, DB,
And I am your lovely co-host, Fee.
and this is the DB and Fee segment of the Pain Under Purpose podcast where we share our real life experiences to help you process whatever pain, trauma, adversity you're currently going through. So today we're going to talk about the power of perspective and how shifting that power of perspective can greatly increase the chances of you overcoming whatever you're going through. With that being said, let's go.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. We'll let you start.
Okay. Um. So I've I've always had trouble with um accepting somebody else's perspective on things, right?
Uh-huh.
Because I was stuck in my own belief system, right? I had to upgrade my internal software. So, with that, that takes time. That's not something that happens overnight. What helped me get to that point was my best friend, Ryan. She's always, I've always looked at her as a big sister, even though we're the same age, but her birthday is 2 months before mine. So I've always looked at her as a big sister, and I value, the connection, the friendship, the sisterhood that we have, and the emotionally intelligent conversations that we have. And so there was a point in my life where I was having a lot of run-ins with the law. Okay. Fortunately, I have seen the inside of Santa Rita a few times. And one time I had to go, because of a decision that I made when I was younger, I had to go and turn myself in another state. So, with all of that, um, came the anxiety behind applying for jobs. Okay. Especially when I got my first felony, my first and only, which is now it has been
Expunged.
expunged, right? But in any event, Ryan used to always encourage me to apply for certain jobs, even though I had this background. And I was always reluctant to do so because I'm like, dude, like, I got a whole record. I'm not going to get it, and I'm already doubting myself before I even apply for the job. Like, as soon as I look at the job title and the description, I'm like, and the requirements, I'm like, but I'm not going to get it. And she's like, Fee, stop. Like one day she had to literally tell me, like, you can't keep doing that, especially if it's a job that you really want. Excuse me. And so she was a case manager for her job. And so she would send me, different job opportunities and whatnot. And, I was very appreciative and receptive of them. But most of the time, I wouldn't even apply for it until one day I told her, like, Rye, I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm gonna get this job, dude, because of my background. She's like, okay, so look, we're not going to keep having this conversation, Fee. I need for you to read the whole job description, the requirements, and everything. This is a job that hires felons, right? So you don't have to worry about not getting the job unless you just don't fit the requirements that they're looking for. But I believe that you do. And so I took her advice, right? I read the whole job description, um, and I applied and I got the job. And so, if it wasn't for my best friend telling me, like, Fee, like, you gotta believe in yourself, regardless of what your past is, you have to be open to, new endeavors. So I was second guessing myself, and I was, um, I just, I was scared. I was scared, just to put it bluntly. I was scared. I didn't think that, they would hire me. But eventually I changed, my perspective on it. I was open to receiving her perspective, and I shifted my mindset, and I went ahead and I applied for the job and I got it. And this was about, I want to say, like 10, 15 years ago
Yeah.
when we had this conversation. So Yeah, it's there is power in the perspective and shifting that
So I have
from
a
negative to positive.
I have a similar I have a similar situation, except for mine was I got fired from Sleep Train,
Okay.
and but they paid for my Class A license. So what happened was the lady, she fired me illegally, basically, and so they gave me a severance package because you're not supposed to get fired and get a severance package. So they gave me a severance package where they paid for my commercial driver's license. They gave me like 4 months pay up front, and they paid for my benefits for my family for like 6 months.
Wow.
So that's how you know that they knew that they was messing up,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they did it prematurely.
Okay.
So I get my Class A license, and I have them for a year, and I'm like, everybody, I'm applying for jobs locally, but everybody like, you need experience, you got to go over the road, and I'm like, I'm not going over the road, like I'm not leaving my family.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it took a year to pass for me to say maybe I should go over the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because nobody would hire me. So once I did, not only did I get to see the world, so it changed my perspective in two ways,
Okay.
right? Because before that, I was an East Oakland kid. I'm not leaving out of East Oakland. I may go to the West. I pass through the North. I go to Lois the Pie Queen, right, for breakfast. That's about as far as I'm going through the North. And driving. So once I went to see our England in LA, my first trip was from Iowa to Florida
Okay. How long was that?
in the truck, days.
Okay.
Because we in the truck, we in the 18 wheeler,
Right.
right? So taking that trip, even though my trainer was trash, my training was trash. But I'm just sitting in the passenger seat, just looking out the window, like a little kid taking a car ride, and I'm like, the world is beautiful, and especially up north, like if you on 10, or I want to see 10, or it's another highway up there that goes east to west, but it's just all green. It's just a bunch of trees.
Beautiful.
Like it's amazingly beautiful. So I'm like, the
Yeah.
world is beautiful. Like, ooh, right? So it changed my perspective on what the world looked like,
Right.
because I was so used to being from Oakland, that I thought the whole world looked like Oakland,
Right.
which started my traveling career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then driving trucks was easy, and they didn't pay much, but then I knew back home, like if I got in at waste management was the goal.
Okay.
When I left, waste management was the goal, because two elder gentlemen, Perry and Big John. Perry lived next door to me. That was my partner's father. He worked for waste management, and he just happened to have everything that he ever wanted. Like when I was growing up as a kid, like it don't seem like he wanted for nothing, and he was always home early.
Okay.
And then Big John, and both of these older dudes was homeowners. They kids didn't seem like they needed nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I want to be the garbage man, despite everything that everybody say about being a garbage man, how bad it is and all that. I'm like, I want to be the garbage man. So going over the road opened my eyes up to how beautiful the world was and how easy truck driving was. I just so happened to land at a company that's a little bit better than waste management in San Francisco, right?
Okay.
We get paid a little bit more.
Okay.
I believe their pension may be a little bit better, but I think I landed at a beautiful spot, right?
Nice.
Which allows me to travel as much as I do,
Right.
right? So that perspective shift, that one perspective shift from not wanting to leave Oakland to convincing myself that everything is going to be okay if I leave Oakland for a year. Because I'm like, all I got to do is act like I went to jail for a year and come back and I'll be all right.
Wow.
That was my thought process back
Yeah.
then. Because I only did a year in the county one time, but I'm like, I could do it. I did it already. So if I just say that's what I'm gonna do, and I came back and it just changed everything. So them perspective shifts be pivotal.
Absolutely.
And so, and it built my confidence
Okay.
because now I drive trucks every day locally, and now I'm home versus being over the road and only coming back once every 4 to 6 months.
Right.
So it was a beautiful gift that I was able to shift that perspective back then.
Nice. And you eating from that
Yeah,
decision.
I'm eating from that.
Yeah.
But I would also say that, like, and we're not gonna take this too deep,
Okay.
but
Where we taking it?
we taking it to how I learned how to switch my perspective when something negative happens.
Okay.
Right? My brother always tell me don't take it personal, even when it feels personal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So being able to switch my power, being able to switch the perspective and understand that a lot of things that people do is just my turn because it lined up like that. But if you put somebody else in that same position, they're gonna do that. They're gonna do that same thing to somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that allows me not to take it personal.
Even if it's somebody that you know personally.
Yeah, even if it's somebody I know personally, the only person that I'm having a problem processing that with is my pops, and I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it, and I can't. I don't know why. I don't like. I try to play it back in my head why, but I can't figure it out. So I'll keep self-reflecting. I'll keep digging in the crates, for lack of a better term, and trying to figure out how. Because I don't think that he personally did nothing. You know what I mean? Or I don't think that he intentionally. So the power perspective for me, when I can look at the intention of the person, it lessens the sting. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
may and maybe I have a problem. I'm having a hard time processing it because it is my pops, and I hold him in such a high regard, and
Understandable.
that may be the problem.
Right. Well then and that's I received that, right?
Hmm.
But remember I was saying or I was asking you, have you learned what his upbringing was?
No, and I haven't, and so me and the therapist talked about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on not having to know his upbringing, right? Because technically, I don't even know if it really matters at this point, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to per se, but I feel like it just gives you a different perspective of what he had to endure or not when
Yeah,
he was growing up because, whatever that case may be trickled into his,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's that generational curse thing, breaking it. You
definitely.
know what I'm saying? And it's important because, we tend to pull from how we were raised and using those ways or patterns, belief systems in the way that we parented our children.
And so, like I've also talked about this before. I went back and apologized to my children
Right.
for the damage that I may have caused, and all of my children
Yeah.
were able to forgive me. And they was like, out of all the days that we had, we probably had 20 bad days. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when we really think about it, as far as like a whooping or something like that, they
Mm-hmm.
probably got whooped like 20 times at the max, right? So I wasn't out here just
Yeah.
whooping kids.
Yeah.
They said, "Pops, you do a lot of yelling, but you really ain't you really ain't do no real damage, right? So,
But that
which was a
damage,
good thing.
but no
But
physical damage, but the
yeah,
yelling, that
but
does damage too,
yeah, but
psychologically.
from their perspective, they like, yeah, we over that.
Okay.
But my grandkids, they don't get yelled at or nothing. Like I literally just and I've learned that when I'm talking to little people, and you see me do this with your daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I get on one knee,
Mm-hmm.
I get down to their level.
Yep.
So I'm 6'1".
Right.
So I'm not towering over this little person because that could be intimidating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want them to know that one, either I get down on one knee or I pick them up
Right.
and bring them up to me, right? So that's part of learning how to guide.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was just telling my son the other day, and this may or may not be right or wrong. So don't crucify me if this come off wrong. I told him, I said, Jesus had 12 disciples because he Christian, right?
Okay.
And he said, yeah. And I said, those disciples came from all different backgrounds, right? He said, yeah. I said, so what did disciples do? They taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to disciple is to teach. Discipline, disciple is a root word of discipline. Somehow we've turned discipline, which is to teach and guide them, into punishment.
Mm.
And we shouldn't be punishing them for things that we haven't taught them yet. So even with my 25-year-old son, I now tell him, let me teach you how you're supposed to handle yourself. And then I could punish you after you don't get it. But let me teach you first. Like, because I realized that we punish people for things that we never taught them.
Well, some things we feel like certain people should just know.
But
already.
That's just us. That's us projecting what they should know.
Okay.
If you ain't never told them or you ain't never taught them, how you know they know?
Because some stuff you just know.
No,
some stuff you should just know.
That's you projecting. That's a projection, right?
Okay.
Now,
touche.
What I do tell my kids is, once I teach you, even if it's something I think you should know, you can't never say nobody told you this. So now, once I can say that once I can confirm that you can't say nobody never told you this, now I can elevate the punishment, right? But until then, it's my job to teach you and guide you. And I might have to teach you and guide you a couple of times because I don't get everything on the first try, right?
Yeah, same here.
So
I'm a visual learner too, so hands-on.
Even being a visual learner, right? You got to do some things a couple times before you get it. So if somebody told you to go bake a cake, your first cake gonna be, now I don't know how that thing gonna turn out.
Well, I know how to bake.
But now you do.
Yeah.
Now you do. But what about your first cake?
Yeah, I don't even.
Because it was so long ago. But now you know how to bake, but somebody had to teach you.
Well, yeah, and I can tie that into yoga too.
Exactly.
You know, like, because I would consider myself advanced now.
You are. You are.
I would consider myself advanced, and I think back on my yoga journey and when I couldn't do certain poses or I couldn't hold it for X amount of seconds or minutes or, whatnot, or I couldn't do this twist or this turn or this leg stand, this handstand, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, shifting, because in the beginning, I'm like, I ain't gonna never get this pose down. You know what I'm saying? This is too hard or this is too challenging, but I kept going. I kept doing it. And eventually it flows natural to me now. You know what I mean? And it feels good too. Now that I know how to do certain poses. Like for instance, The camel pose. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate that right
Yeah,
now.
we're not demonstrating no yoga poses
No
on the
yoga
podcast.
poses, but that is a very challenging pose.
But her book does have yoga poses in them.
It does.
And we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
And we'll actually put a link to her book in the caption of this video.
Okay. Yes. But the camel pose was one of the challenging ones for me, and eventually I was able to do it gracefully, and it didn't hurt because at first I was still kind of tense. So I had to first learn to relax my body, you know what I mean, and allow my spirit to fall into the pose instead of, holding on so tight. And so now it's, it feels good to do it, and it's releasing. So changing my power perspective from I can't do it to let me learn how to do it. It's amazing.
And so
the feeling is unmatched.
I think that helps us remove limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm. If we can change the way, I do say if you change the way you think about it, you change the way you feel about it.
Absolutely.
So.
And then just having that, this is a real thing. I'm so glad that you have this on a shirt. Because we have so many people, not people, but there's so many different elements of life that will come in and take you away from that belief, that part of believing in yourself. You know what I mean?
So I'll give you I give you the backstory to that shirt.
Okay.
That shirt was birthed after the divorce.
Okay.
After the divorce, or during the middle of the divorce, it was a very tough time, right? I was getting beat up from so many different angles, right? And then at this particular time, my children wasn't really rocking with me because of the things that they were being told. And I started to lose sight of why I was doing it. I was starting to lose the belief in myself. So I put it on a t-shirt.
Okay.
So the back of that t-shirt says, "Never let the doubt of anyone else overpower the belief you have in yourself." Because I was being doubted, and their perspective of me I was starting to internalize it, right? Mm-hmm. So I had to put it on the shirt to remind myself that what they say is not who I am.
Right.
And then I started telling my children, I'm just going to be a good person long enough for y'all to catch up. Right? Because it's not like I was doing nothing terrible. It's just that the separation.
Yeah, it was a transition.
It was a transition, but the separation was rough.
Yeah.
Right? And did I do everything right? Absolutely not. Nobody does. But when I think about it, I'm like, I had to do something to remind myself that I'm a good person. Mm-hmm. So I did. I put it on the shirt. So when I wear it, everybody else reads it and it gives them belief in themselves. Mm-hmm. But I'm really rocking it so I can maintain the belief in myself. But now I don't need to rock it as much because I'm solid on who I am now.
Nice.
But having your kids question who you are will rock you to your core.
Yeah.
So that's the true story behind the Belief in Yourself t-shirt. Is I had to do something to recreate or to reestablish the belief in myself during that time.
Nice. Good job, D. It's a hard salute. Okay.
So and in that process, right? Like shifting the perspective during painful times.
That's rough.
It's rough and it's hard.
Yeah.
Not to take it personal.
Especially when it's somebody who knows you personally.
But it's not personal though.
Yeah.
It's not personal.
I get that now.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though it may be set up as a personal attack, my sister always say, consider the source. Consider the person that's doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Consider when you come across somebody or you get into it, like consider them, like from the standpoint of, is it me or is that how they always are? And it's just my turn. If this situation happened to anybody else, would they act the same way they acting right now?
Probably.
And the chances are probably, right?
Yeah.
And then, right, once you realize that, you just got to remove yourself from the situation because it's not you. And if it is you, change. So it was some things I had to change about myself, and I changed them, right? So this is not the one thing about learning all this stuff is you're going to have to do some work on yourself.
Oh yeah.
There is it's not.
There's no way around that.
So, but it's not
at all.
So it's not. So I don't want people to think that it's always them. Meaning that the other person, nah, it's you too, dog. Like it's you too. So in every situation, it's either something I did, or something I didn't do, or something I didn't see, or why didn't I catch this sooner?
Right.
But it's I play a part in all these interactions, and so no matter if I got to change my perspective or not, I never take it personal no more. I try to get to the root cause of it,
and that leaves the door open for more growth opportunities.
Oh, I'm trying to grow every day.
Yeah. I mean, because if you're not, then you're just kind of like,
yeah,
the person stagnant, stuck in.
The person you see today is not going to be the person you see next year. Hopefully I keep evolving.
Oh yeah, that's the goal, to continue to elevate.
Man, I want to keep growing. Like
growth feels good. Honestly, I love it. Like I look back on my journey and I'll be like, boy, enough is it. Like,
if only they knew, huh?
Oh my goodness. No, like I literally, like I had one of my aunties tell me, like she broke down in tears when she saw our first episode. Because she's reflecting back on a time when she didn't even want to be around me. When I was, in my earlier, this was probably around a time when I was on my own, right? Yeah. I was young. I was a hothead.
Young and not listening.
Not listening. I just no regard.
Yeah.
I didn't have any regard for anybody else's feelings because I was hurt. You know what I mean? I had been betrayed by the person who birthed me. You know what I mean? So I was just not a pleasant person. And so she's looking at it from that standpoint. Like, when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, she's like, man, Nafisa, I love you. I've always loved you, but I did not like you. And I didn't want to be around you. I didn't want you to come around. But then, like, when she would have certain events and my sisters, my cousins over there, they'd be like, well, Nafisa is going to slide through and she going to be like, she said, she used to be like, how long is she staying? Like in real life. And so now she's like,
you was that niece?
I was that niece, Steve.
You was that niece that man.
I was
just
terrible.
Get her plate ready.
I was a menace.
Get
her plate ready.
Get her plate ready. All
of that. So now she's like, Fee, or she calls me Nunu. She's like, Nunu. She's like, it's just such a beautiful sight to see the flower that you've blossomed into. How calm you are now, how wise you are. Just your energy is just a lot softer, because I was very hard back then, or I thought I was, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that was that that coat that I had to put over me, that barrier, those, what's the other word?
Those layers of
Those
protection.
layers,
Layers of
yeah,
protection
to
or the
protect
armor.
me. Right, right. You know, I wore it on my sleeve, and I didn't have no problem with it. So now I'm like, you know, I'm a lot more intentional with how I interact with people. And like I said, if I'm in a bad mood, I just remove myself. I don't want to project any negative energy on anybody. And she's helped me through so many different transitions. So for her to say that and to acknowledge that, it shows that I'm really doing something right. And
That
like,
you
cause I couldn't
growing.
tell her nothing. Like she would try to share her perspective with me all the time. And I'm like, no, auntie, this is how I feel. This is what, you know what I mean? Like it was real deep. She was
It sounded like it was intense.
but that's how it was. That's how it was. And so, yeah, so now, you know, she loved me to death. I mean, she's always loved me, but now she loves to be around me. And I've helped her. She always acknowledges too that I've helped her in a lot of different situations in her life, and have helped change her perspective on things. And I'm like, damn, really?
But that's a good thing, though.
No, it is.
But
it is.
So that's the power of perspective.
Yeah.
Is when you change yours and you can show proof that you're changing yours. People around you don't have no choice but to change theirs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If they care, if they love and care for you,
right.
and they see the evolution in you. But she wasn't wrong for not wanting to deal with the old Nafisa.
No, I don't blame her. I didn't even like the old version of me. You know, now looking back on it, it's like, wow, I was horrible. I was a real life menace to society.
And that's hard to believe.
I'm telling you,
no, I believe you, but I'm just saying, looking at you now today,
right? Yeah,
and like I think we've been in each other's life since about 17. Was it 16, 17, or was it 18 when we started?
I think it was more like 19, 20, 21.
So yeah. even at 20,
yeah,
that's damn near a quarter of a century.
Yeah. 24 years, yeah.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yes. So it's like, and even back then, I never got the menace.
No.
I never got the menace.
Yeah, so, but you've seen me.
I seen you spaz out on your BD before, but that I don't know what baby mama ain't spaz out on their baby daddy before. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just laugh at it because I'm just like, wow, who would have ever thought crazy ass Fee is now this cool, calm, and collected.
But that's another shift in the perspective, then, right?
Yeah.
That's another testament to the shift. Because now you don't talk about him, you don't spaz out or nothing. You just like, it is what it is. Water under the bridge.
Yep.
So I think that might be it for the power of perspective, and understanding that if you could change the way you think about it, you'll change the way you feel about it. And the sooner you can do that, take accountability, understand that no matter what situation you're in, you have a part to play in it, no matter how big or small. If you change that one part, you can change the outcome of the situation. And with that being said, this has been a lovely edition of the Pain and the Purpose podcast, the DB and Fee segment.
Yeah.
Till next week, see ya.
Peace.